we've got a new lawsuit that we filed about the Democratic caucus and the way it manages itself and generally the corruption around the administration of the House of Representatives. And this is the Awan brothers. These are the Pakistani brothers who performed IT for, I think, about 40 House Democrats. And Imran Awan, who was Democratic Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz's IT specialist, was fired in February, I think, of 2017, but Schultz kept him on until he was arrested in July. Isn't that interesting? And the concern is he was able to do all sorts of illicit activity as a result of his being allowed to have continued access to the House. Now, Awan eventually had pled guilty to federal bank fraud, but prosecutors supposedly found no evidence that Awan violated federal law with respect to the House computer systems, which was the concern that internal watchdogs at the House had about what he was up to. And then there were national security issues because he had access to, presumably, he had access to members of the Intelligence Committee's email. We don't know if there were access to classified email. I don't think there was, but who knows? He was also providing IT services out of Pakistan to the House. So you had 40 House members getting IT services via Pakistan. How does that not raise national security concerns? And so, as I predicted in a meeting we held about this issue back in 2017, the Justice Department was going to stay away from this as far as it could. And I'm not convinced they did a thorough investigation. I'm not convinced the House wants a thorough investigation done, neither the leadership of the House Democrats or House Republicans. You know, this meeting we held was sponsored by Judicial Watch, not by Congress. We worked with Congressman Louis Gohmert of Texas. Who else was at this meeting? Scott Perry was at this meeting. Who else was at the meeting? Jim Jordan was at the meeting. So we had some members who were interested in this issue, but it was kind of an informal thing. But to this date, that special meeting we had, that special hearing, more or less, is your best bet in terms of getting a full analysis of what was going on with the Awan brothers. We had Luke Rosiak participate. He's a friend of ours at the Daily Caller, a great reporter who's done much of the reporting on this. So, getting back to the beginning here, the Justice Department's looked at this. They just indicted, they had Awan plead guilty to this bank fraud unrelated to these issues that I'm talking about with this illicit access to Democratic members' homes, computers, which of course place all your information at risk if you communicate with Democratic members of Congress. A lot of people do. People complain about getting benefits, and they talk to their members of Congress about it. All sorts of personal information is conveyed. Do these folks have access to it? I don't know. Is anyone asking questions? I don't believe so. And then there was an issue about equipment being used or stolen and by the Awan brothers ring. So this is a big issue. So what Judicial Watch did, we asked the FBI for all records related to any investigation or preliminary investigations involving former Congressional IT support staffers Abid Awan, Imran Awan, Jamal Awan, and Hina Alvi. So this is the Awan family. As part of this request, searches should be of records to the FBI automated indices, its older manual indices, and its electronic surveillance data management system, as well as cross-reference files. I read you that because unless you ask the FBI to look in a particular file, they won't look there, even if they think the records that are responsive to your request are there. And so our other request also sought records about that whole mess. So we had this comprehensive request, and the FBI told us, not literally, but basically generally, to jump in a lake. So Judicial Watch again sued because we want the full truth to come out about this House Democrat IT scandal. And it's especially important because the leadership that covered it up in the Democratic Party are now going to be running the House administration, administering fully the House because they're going to be controlling the House. Now, not to mean that the Republicans are being let off the hook too, because they weren't interested in doing this. They don't want people messing around with how they conduct personnel, how they manage corruption issues on the Hill, how they manage your taxpayers on the Hill. They want to be able to spend your money administering the House of Representatives with virtually little or no oversight by you, the American taxpayer. And that's what Judicial Watch is trying to do by getting these FBI records. And again, it's Judicial Watch doing this work. Congress isn't going to do this work. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi is going to allow Debbie Wasserman Schultz to be investigated? Of course not. So it's up to Judicial Watch to do it. And this is what we do. We come in and we do the work that otherwise would not be done. People often say to me, I don't know where we'd be without Judicial Watch. And I appreciate the compliment, but it's outrageous that it's true, because but for Judicial Watch, this would never be investigated.